Did you know that what you eat before bed after age 70 could literally stop your heart while you sleep? I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that thousands of seniors die each year because of something they ate just hours before bedtime. Consider Margaret, a vibrant 78-year-old who cherished her evening routine of indulging in a small plate of assorted cheeses while watching her favorite late-night shows. She believed this ritual was harmless, even beneficial for relaxation. However, one night, Margaret experienced severe chest discomfort and shortness of breath, leading to an emergency hospital visit. Doctors discovered that her nightly cheese consumption had been contributing to elevated blood pressure and cholesterol levels, significantly increasing her risk of a heart attack. Margaret's story is a wake-up call. In this video, we'll uncover 8 specific foods that seniors over 70 should avoid before bedtime to maintain optimal health and longevity. Pay close attention to number 3. It's particularly notorious for its impact on life expectancy. Part 1. Processed cheese, a silent threat to your heart. Imagine something so seemingly innocent, so comforting, as a couple of slices of cheese before bed, becoming the silent reason your heart is struggling in the middle of the night. For many older adults, it's a ritual. A few crackers, a slice of cheddar, maybe a small nightcap of wine. It feels like self-care, a reward at the end of the day. But the truth is more unsettling than most people realize. After the age of 70, our bodies change dramatically. The way we metabolize fat, the way our heart handles sodium, the way our blood pressure reacts during sleep. And when it comes to processed cheese, especially those orange rubbery slices or pre-shredded mixes full of preservatives, the danger becomes very real, very fast. Let's take a closer look. Processed cheese is often packed with excessive sodium and saturated fats. These aren't just numbers on a label. They translate to thickening blood, strained arteries, and higher blood pressure. During the daytime, your body can somewhat manage this stress. But when you're sleeping, when your body should be resting, recovering, and regulating, those same ingredients force your heart to work harder, not less. Dr. Emily Carter, a renowned cardiologist and aging heart health researcher, puts it this way: the combination of excessive sodium and unhealthy fats in processed cheeses can disrupt the body's natural blood pressure regulation during sleep, increasing the risk of cardiovascular strain, arrhythmia, and even silent strokes. That statement hits hard, but it hits even harder when you hear the story of John, a 75-year-old grandfather from Indiana. John was the picture of responsible aging. He walked daily, took his meds, saw his doctor regularly. But each night, as part of his winding down routine, he had what he called his comfort plate: cheese, crackers, and a tiny glass of red wine. It seemed innocent until he started waking up with pounding headaches, then episodes of night sweats, and finally, one early morning, he woke up gasping for breath. His daughter rushed him to the ER, blood pressure sky high, sodium levels elevated. He wasn't suffering a heart attack, not yet, but the doctor said he was well on the path. After extensive testing, they pinpointed a contributing culprit: his nightly processed cheese habit. John was shocked. He'd never thought cheese, a food he'd loved his entire life, could be playing such a dangerous role. But when you consider the science, it makes perfect sense. Processed cheeses often contain over 400 milligrams of sodium per slice. That, combined with saturated fat, causes the body to retain water, raises blood volume, and forces the heart to pump harder during the night. John's doctor recommended several key changes. Replace processed cheese with fresh, low-sodium options like mozzarella or low-fat cottage cheese. Pair with unsalted whole grain crackers or a handful of unsalted almonds instead. Limit dairy intake after 6 p.m., allowing time for digestion before rest. Within 2 weeks, John's morning headaches were gone. His blood pressure normalized. Most importantly, his heart had room to rest again at night. "I thought I was being good to myself," John told us. "Now I know that being kind to your body means knowing what it truly needs, not just what comforts you." So take a moment, check your fridge. If there's a packet of processed cheese waiting for tonight, consider this. Is that bite of flavor worth the risk it brings? Because no snack is worth your peace or your pulse. Part 2. Sugary treats, disrupting sleep and blood sugar balance. It's been a long day. You're tired, the house is quiet, and there in the pantry or freezer is something sweet, a cookie, a bowl of sugary cereal, or maybe a scoop of ice cream. It feels like comfort, like reward, like a little joy before drifting off. But for seniors over 70, these sugary bedtime habits can become deadly traps. The reason? Blood sugar volatility, the kind that causes your glucose to spike, then crash, places enormous stress on your heart, your brain, and your ability to get truly restful, healing sleep. Linda Green, a registered dietitian who specializes in geriatric nutrition, warns, consuming sugary foods before bedtime can cause significant fluctuations in blood glucose levels, leading to interrupted sleep, nighttime heart palpitations, and in vulnerable seniors, even cardiac events. Let's look at the case of Eleanor, a warm and spirited 72-year-old widow who prided herself on staying active and independent. Her guilty pleasure? A bowl of vanilla ice cream each night while watching her favorite game show. It started as something to look forward to, a little sweetness to ease the loneliness. But soon Eleanor noticed changes. She'd wake up several times during the night, heart racing. By morning, she'd feel exhausted, as though she hadn't slept at all. At first, she thought it was aging. Then she thought it was stress. But when her doctor ran a continuous glucose monitor test, a small patch she wore on her arm for a week, the results were staggering. Each night after her dessert, Eleanor's blood sugar would spike to pre-diabetic levels. And then, in the early morning hours, around 2 or 3 a.m., her glucose would plummet. That rapid drop is what triggered her nighttime awakenings. Her heart was working overtime to compensate. Her doctor gently explained the real danger. These sugar crashes can destabilize your heart rhythm, especially in your sleep. When the body has fewer defenses active, it can cause arrhythmia or worse. Eleanor was stunned. She'd always believed ice cream helped her relax, but now she saw the truth. It was secretly stealing her rest, her energy, and possibly shortening her life. The doctor suggested a transition. Instead of sugary desserts, opt for a sliced apple with a teaspoon of almond butter, or try a half cup of plain Greek yogurt with fresh berries. Avoid sugar after 7 p.m. to give the body time to stabilize before sleep. The change wasn't easy at first. The ice cream had been her routine for years, but within days, Eleanor slept more deeply. Her energy returned. Her morning walks felt light again. "It's amazing how something so small can change everything," she told us. "I used to think sweets made me feel better, but now I feel strong, and that's better than any dessert." So if you're reaching for something sweet tonight, pause. Ask yourself, is this comforting me or compromising me? Because at 70, 75, 80, your body is still fighting for you. Let's not fight against it. Swap sugar for strength and give your heart the peaceful night it truly deserves. Part 3, processed meats, a direct link to heart risks. It started with a sandwich. That's how Robert's daughter Elaine begins the story. Her father, Robert Hall, is a 77-year-old retired Air Force veteran, a man of principle, of routine, and of comfort. Every night before bed, he made the same snack: white bread, mayonnaise, and 3 thick slices of salami. That sandwich was like a ritual, Elaine says. He said it reminded him of the old days, when he and Mom were raising us on base, barely scraping by. He said it kept her close. But what Robert didn't know was that this comforting habit was silently carving away at his health. According to Dr. Michael Reynolds, a cardiologist with over 30 years of experience, processed meats like bacon, salami, and hot dogs are among the worst culprits when it comes to sodium and nitrate overload. These substances harden arteries, raise blood pressure, and accelerate vascular damage in older adults. And yet they're so deceptively common, especially for older adults living alone or on fixed incomes. Processed meats are cheap, easy, and full of flavor. But that flavor comes with a steep cost. In Robert's case, it took just one routine checkup for the truth to surface. His blood pressure was 168/94, Elaine recalls. The doctor looked me in the eye and said, "You're lucky he hasn't had a stroke yet." It was a wake-up call, one that many families unfortunately never get in time. The change didn't happen overnight. Robert was stubborn, set in his ways. He said, "What harm can a sandwich do?" But when we showed him his CT scan, when he saw the calcium in his arteries, that's when he changed. Elaine worked with a dietitian and slowly replaced his processed meats with lean, heart-friendly options. Turkey breast, grilled chicken, roasted vegetables. The bread became whole grain. The mayo swapped for avocado spread. The results shocked even the doctors. Within 6 months, his blood pressure dropped by 22 points. His LDL cholesterol decreased by 18%. And most importantly, he felt alive again. "I thought I was just getting old," Weinstein, Robert later admitted. "Turns out I was poisoning myself with nostalgia." A 2021 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that individuals over 65 who consume processed meats more than twice a week have a 42% higher risk of heart disease. The sodium content alone in just 2 slices of salami can exceed 600 milligrams, over a quarter of a senior's recommended daily intake. Additionally, nitrites and nitrates used in meat preservation convert into nitrosamines in the body, compounds that damage blood vessels and increase cancer risk. These meats were never meant to be daily staple, says Dr. Reynolds. They were wartime conveniences, not food for longevity. For many older adults, food isn't just nourishment. It's memory, identity, a connection to simpler times. That's why processed meats become such emotional crutches. But here's the empowering truth. You can honor your past while protecting your future. Elaine began recreating some of Robert's favorite childhood meals with heart-healthy twists, meatloaf made with lentils, cabbage rolls with ground turkey, even a low-sodium pastrami made from scratch. "Dad still gets his sandwich," she smiles, "but now it's something we both feel good about." And what you can do right now. 1. Check labels. Avoid anything with sodium nitrate, sodium nitrite, or cured meats. 2. Limit processed meats. Try to consume less than 1 serving per week, or eliminate entirely. 3. Replace with lean proteins. Opt for fresh poultry, fish, legumes, and tofu. 4. Try homemade alternatives. Roast your own turkey breast or slow-cook shredded chicken for sandwiches. 5. Add herbs, not salt. Basil, thyme, rosemary, garlic, all heart-loving seasonings. Don't wait for the warning sign, Dr. Reynolds cautions. Prevent it. That's the real power in aging well. If you've ever had to help a parent or grandparent change their eating habits, share your story in the comments. What worked? What didn't? Your journey could inspire someone else. Now let's talk about another hidden culprit hiding in your dinner plate. One that might be stealing your sleep and setting your stomach on fire. And it's part 4. Spicy foods, triggering acid reflux and discomfort. Maria Ruiz never thought she'd give up chili peppers. The 74-year-old grandmother from New Mexico had grown up in a household where spice was more than flavor. It was family tradition. Every evening, she'd add red pepper flakes to her beans, drizzle homemade salsa over rice, and crush dried chilies into soups. Spice made me feel alive, Maria laughs. But then it started keeping me up at night. I thought I was just getting old. Turns out it was the fire in my food burning up my sleep. Dr. Susan Lee, a leading gastroenterologist, explains it simply. When you eat spicy foods, especially close to bedtime, they can relax the lower esophageal sphincter. That's the valve that keeps stomach acid where it belongs. Once it relaxes, acid slips up into your esophagus, causing heartburn, coughing, even chest pain. And for older adults, the effects are often worse. Aging slows digestion, weakens sphincter control, and increases sensitivity to acid. Maria began waking up in the middle of the night with a burning sensation in her chest. She'd pop antacids, drink water, try to sit upright in bed. Nothing worked. One night, I thought I was having a heart attack, she says. I called my daughter. We rushed to the ER. It was reflux, but I was terrified. Chronic acid reflux, or GERD, isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. Repeated acid exposure can erode the esophagus, leading to a condition called Barrett's esophagus, a precursor to esophageal cancer. It can also cause aspiration, where stomach acid enters the lungs during sleep, increasing risk of pneumonia. And it deeply disrupts sleep patterns, raising cortisol and blood pressure levels overnight. Dr. Lee warns, if you're over 60 and regularly experience heartburn, especially at night, it's time to reevaluate your diet and bedtime habits. Maria's struggle was not just medical, it was emotional. Chilies were in everything. I felt like I was losing a piece of myself by cutting them out. But after an overnight reflux episode landed her in the ER again, she knew something had to change. Her doctor gave her a list: reduce spice, avoid late meals, elevate the head of her bed. She resisted at first, until one conversation with her granddaughter changed everything. Abuela, the little girl said, I don't want you to hurt when you sleep. I want to make you a different salsa. Together they created a new recipe, milder, using roasted red peppers, garlic, and a hint of cumin. No more burning, just flavor and connection. And healing tips for reflux relief include: 1. Avoid eating 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. 2. Limit spicy, acidic, and fried foods in the evening. 5. Try gentle teas before bed. Chamomile, slippery elm, or marshmallow root soothe the esophagus. And the last, keep a food and symptom journal to identify triggers. About Maria, she now sleeps through the night. Her energy has improved. And perhaps most importantly, she's found a way to keep her culture alive without sacrificing her health. Spice doesn't have to mean pain, she says. It just means love, with a little less fire. Do you love spicy food but struggle with reflux? What have you done to reduce symptoms? Share your tips in the comments. Someone out there might need your advice today. And the last is alcohol, disrupting sleep patterns and respiratory function. I just wanted to feel less alone. That's how George Parker, a 76-year-old widower, described his nightly ritual. After his wife of 52 years, Helen, passed away, George began pouring himself a glass of red wine each night before bed. It was never to get drunk, he explained. It was to remember her. She used to love the way I swirled my glass like I was some fancy connoisseur. We'd sit by the fireplace sipping, talking about the day. But what started as a comforting memory turned into a quiet health hazard. Most people believe alcohol helps them sleep better, and initially it does seem to have that effect. Dr. Alan Thompson, a sleep specialist with over 2 decades of clinical research, clarifies this myth. Alcohol has a sedative effect in the first half of the night, but it drastically reduces REM sleep, which is essential for memory consolidation, emotional regulation, and overall brain restoration. REM sleep, the stage where your brain clears out toxins and stores memories, is often cut in half by alcohol. Instead, people experience fragmented, shallow sleep that leaves them feeling groggy, irritable, and foggy-headed the next day. George began noticing it subtly at first. He'd wake up at 3 a.m. for no reason. Then he'd toss and turn. By morning, he felt more tired than before he went to bed. "I thought it was grief," George said, but after 2 years, nothing improved. He began falling asleep in the middle of the day, missing appointments, forgetting names, things Helen would have noticed in a heartbeat. Eventually, his daughter insisted he get checked. A sleep study revealed something shocking. George had developed alcohol-exacerbated sleep apnea, a condition where his airway would partially close during sleep, depriving him of oxygen and interrupting deep rest up to 40 times an hour. Alcohol is a muscle relaxant. While that might sound appealing, it's dangerous when applied to the muscles that control your airway. Dr. Thompson explains, when older adults consume alcohol before bed, it relaxes the throat muscles too much. This can lead to airway obstruction, especially in those already prone to snoring or mild sleep apnea. For seniors, the consequences are serious. Lower blood oxygen levels, increased risk of nighttime stroke, cardiac strain due to repeated oxygen drops, daytime confusion, poor balance, and higher fall risk. And worse, these symptoms often go unnoticed or are mistaken for normal aging. George admitted that cutting back on alcohol felt like losing Helen all over again. But his doctor suggested reframing the ritual, not removing it. It wasn't the wine I was attached to, George realized. It was the moment, the quiet, the reflection, the peace. So together with his granddaughter Ellie, he created a new bedtime tradition. Instead of wine, they brewed chamomile tea. She bought him a special mug that read, "To sleep, perchance to dream." Each night, George sat in the same spot, by the fireplace, tea in hand, and wrote one letter to Helen in a journal. "At first, I cried more than I wrote," he shared. "But slowly, the nights felt softer, and the mornings, brighter." And about science, in a landmark study published in the Journal of Sleep Medicine, researchers found that just one alcoholic beverage consumed within 2 hours of sleep reduced deep sleep time by 24% and REM sleep by 37% in adults over 65. Another report from the National Sleep Foundation warns that alcohol increases the risk of nighttime trips to the bathroom due to its diuretic effects, further disrupting rest and increasing the risk of falls during the night. Steps to improve sleep without alcohol include: 1. If you or a loved one is using alcohol to fall asleep, consider these healthier alternatives. 2. Replace alcohol with herbal tea. Chamomile, valerian root, or passion flower can relax the nervous system. 3. Create a calming ritual. Light stretching, journaling, or gentle music. 4. Diffuse lavender or use weighted blankets. These reduce anxiety and promote deep rest. 5. Keep a gratitude notebook by the bed. Ending the day on a positive note calms racing thoughts. 6. Talk to a professional. If alcohol use is deeply emotional, seek a counselor or grief therapist to guide the transition. And about George's new morning. Today, George says he sleeps soundly for the first time in years. His dreams are vivid, and he wakes with more energy and clarity than he ever expected at 76. "I thought the wine was helping me hold on to Helen," he said, "but letting go of it let me hold on to myself." So have you ever used wine or a nightcap to relax before bed? How did it affect your sleep or breathing? If you've tried replacing it with something else, what worked for you? Share your story in the comments. It might help someone else find peace tonight. Growing older brings new wisdom, but also new challenges, especially when it comes to the quietest, most sacred part of the day, the hours before bed. What we choose to eat or drink before sleep doesn't just affect our rest. It shapes our heart health, our brain clarity, our immune strength, and our longevity. Let's reflect on what we've uncovered in this journey. Processed meats may feel nostalgic, but they quietly damage the heart. Spicy foods ignite flavor, but often rob us of sleep through acid reflux. Alcohol soothes pain momentarily, but disturbs our deepest rest and compromises breathing. Sugary treats, salty cheeses, and late-night snacks all play a part in undermining the body's natural healing cycles. And for what? A few minutes of pleasure? A bite of comfort? Our bodies speak to us, Dr. Thompson reminds. The trick is learning to listen before it's too late. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Just start with one choice. Swap one snack. Try one new bedtime drink. Journal for 5 minutes instead of reaching for the fridge. Share your journey with a friend, and the results? They come quietly, like the soft glow of morning sunlight. More energy, clearer thoughts, fewer aches, a deeper sense of peace. Robert changed his late-night sandwich, and now his blood pressure is under control. Maria cut back on spice and finally sleeps through the night again. George let go of his nightcap and found himself wide awake and alive in the morning. These are not fictional characters. They are reflections of you, of us, of everyone trying to age with grace, with dignity, and with intention. Which of these nighttime foods or habits surprised you most? Have you already started changing your evening routine? What's helped you sleep better, breathe easier, or feel more refreshed? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's build a space where older adults support and inspire each other. And if you found this video meaningful, please like the video to let others know it's worth watching. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss practical advice like this. Share this video with someone you care about. It might change their life tonight. Aging is not about decline. It's about becoming more intentional, more empowered, more in tune with the quiet miracles of daily life. And it starts not with grand resolutions, but with the simple sacred choice of what you do before bed. You deserve rest. You deserve healing. You deserve to feel good when you wake up. So tonight, just try one change. And tomorrow, let the new you rise with the sun. We're rooting for you. With all our heart, dear Seniors Life.